Holy Father, in Jesus' name, please bless. Hi, everybody. This is Angelo Quinones, and you reach I Am Ministries. I Am Ministries is designed to give you dependable and accurate answers that come straight from God's holy and inspired word, the Bible. And I'm keeping my voice down a little bit, far be it from me, because of my baby. She's a special child and she's sleeping, so I don't want to wake her up. I'm doing this Bible study on the Trinity at home. All right, so let's get at it. Now, you know the famous verses of the Trinity. Okay, it doesn't mention the word three over here, shalosh in Hebrew, or tris or thrice or tres in Greek, in the Greek Septuagint, the so-called Greek Bible. But that's revealed later in chapter 18, and we already went through that chapter and touched the outer hem of the garment of it and came up with the doctrine of the Trinity, that perhaps the Trinity did visit Abraham. Okay, shalosh is there for three, and the Tetragrammaton appears no less than 10 times actually in that chapter. Let's read this from the NIV. Okay, let's check this out. Now we're going to be looking at 5 verses of scripture that has to do with the Trinity. Now, before we begin, let's just tackle right away. Okay. The misuse of what came up in the 16th or 15th century, whatever the case may be, the plurality of majesty, that has nothing to do with these texts. That was incorporated by the enemies of the Trinity, okay, way after Moshe wrote the Hebrew, and we're going to be seeing that. Okay, so we're going to get through these verses, knowing that the plurality of majesty has nothing to do with the Trinity. There's no such thing as the plurality of majesty. There's no such thing. Now, Jehovah's Witnesses use that as a golden parachute, just like they use 3 other parachutes when they get into trouble. 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 28. It matters when it matters. That's number 2. Number 3. Jesus has a God. Hebrews chapter 1, verse 9. Those are the golden parachutes that they use. And the plurality of majesty is another golden parachute that they use, especially when, being defeated by the text of scripture recorded here for the Trinity. You understand what I mean? So let's get at it. We're going to look at the Hebrew. We're going to look at it. And so let's just sit there. We're going to look at all the forms. And then we're going to look at the Greek Septuagint, okay, in our next study of the Lord. Well, we shall do this and that. Now let's read this from the NIV. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Now, in the Greek Septuagint, it says, "Energe epoiesin." That's in the aorist tense. The augment there, the epsilon is the augment. We're going to look at that. And then the sigma and epsilon actually is a third person form used. Is a regular thing found in the aorist tense there, when the aorist tense has time, involved in it. So we're going to check that out. But energe epoies and hateas tan uranan kaitain gain is the complete verse there in the Greek Septuagint. The Hebrew here, okay. Now let's turn it here. Let me see if this is the Hebrew. In the beginning, the Hebrew here is Bereshit bara Elohim. Bara Elohim. Okay. Bereshit means in beginning. It's the same prepositional phrase found and recorded, okay, in the Hebrew New Testament. And when you see, the famous phrase from John 1:1, okay, all right, in the beginning, energe, right, in Greek, but Bereshit is there, but it doesn't say Bereshit bara Elohim hadabar. In the beginning, God created the what? The bar means what in Hebrew? You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't say that. It goes on to say, in the beginning was the what? Haya hadabar. Very, very different than this. It doesn't say Haya hadabar here. Or whatever the case may be. Or no, bara. It doesn't say in John 1:1 And Bereshit bara. It's hard to spit out, guys. Bereshit bara Elohim hadabar in John 1:1. Okay, this is different. It says over here, Bereshit bara Elohim. Now, it says be as a preposition over there, be, or whatever you want to, however you want to pronounce it. Then you have the resh or the r right underneath the I there. It's like an opposite side looking R. Then you have sere, okay, so re, and then you have a aleph there underneath the two ends, and then you have a sheen or a shin underneath the G, right? It looks like a W, but it's not. It's an SH because of the upper position dot. And then you have a sego underneath that, right? No, you have a Chirec I class underneath that. Sorry about that. That's a little dot underneath a consonant. When you see that, you're most likely looking at an I class. Okay. Sheet, and then you have the yod. This is Aramaic. This is not Hebrew. We call it Hebrew, but it's not actually. This is Aramaic script. Everybody knows that by now. Yod is acting like a vowel there, along with the little dot to make an E sound. And then there's a tau there, last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and that has different pronunciations, but we're going to make it a T sound in Bereshit. Now it says over here, created, and that's bara. Bait with the hardening dogish, and the little tiny dot in the belly of the B there in Hebrew, the B sounding letter in Hebrew, right? You have created. I'm underneath the ED in created, okay? That's a B in Hebrew, okay? Bait. It could be a V also, okay? And it's hard. It has a dot in the middle of it, so it's making it hard. Then it has a T-looking thingy underneath it. That's an A class like in the word Father. Don't make Hebrew so hard. What's hard for us non-Jewish people is that we don't know how to pronounce it as good as the Jewish people do. But I don't expect them to pronounce my Spanish in a perfect way either. So it goes both ways. You understand what I'm saying? Or English, by the way, because I'm a native born American, meaning I was born in America. I'm Spanish. So anyway, ba, and then you have the resh, the R, opposite side looking R in Hebrew underneath the T and created, and then another A class. Comets. So that's ra, and then the aleph is silent there. So bara means created. Not to be confused with basar, which means flesh. Okay, found and recorded in Job chapter 19. And then we have Elohim here. Elohim is right under the word for God in English, and so you have hatef segol underneath the aleph. Okay, so aleph looks like an X-looking letter. That X-looking letter, okay, which is not an X, it's one of the two silent letters in Hebrew. The other one is peculiar, ayin. Is a designation for a Greek manuscript. We all know it, Sinaiticus or Sinaiticus, or Sinaiticus, you understand? So that's the only Hebrew letter that designates a Greek manuscript of the New Testament. And so you have that. So you have and then you have the lamed, which is a long letter, especially on the upper portion, and that's right under the letter G for God and O, by the way, and there's a dot right next to it on the upper left-hand corner. That's an O class. So we just saw a dot on the bottom of a consonant. That's an I class. A dot above, a letter to the left-hand side. And most likely we'll be looking at an O class. If you see that, you have to be careful though. There's other dots, and there's an H here. That's a hey with the I class underneath it. Okay, and the accent marker. Accent markers to the left-hand side, and the dot, the I class, is right underneath the hey to the right-hand side. And I already said that the yod can be a vowel, and it's doing that here. And you got final mem to cap off the what. There are two M styles, or there are two styles for the M sounding letter in Hebrew. One that could go anywhere except for the last letter in a Hebrew word, and this can only be the last letter, okay, in a Hebrew word, final mem. And you see it in words like susim, okay, which means horses. Cherubim, seraphim, those angel classes in the plural. Panim, which means faces or persons or whatever the case may be. Echadim, which means few, and on it goes. So this is telling you right off the bat that there's a plurality within the Godhead. It's not saying there's many gods. Okay, it's not saying that. He's not saying that he's more than one being, but there's something to them. There's something plural about the nature of God. It's just not revealed here right away. You have to see the number, and you see it recorded in the word shalosh, which means three, in Genesis chapter 18, and we covered that all across the board already around verse 2 or 3. You understand what I'm saying? All right, so this is verse 1. Now remember, this is the foundation of the Bible. You don't need God saying us all the time. You already have it in Genesis. You don't need to build a foundation twice if you have a house, okay? You don't build a foundation again and again and again. When you build a house or a tower or whatever the case may be, a skyscraper, you build the foundation one time. After that, you build upon it, okay? And you can do whatever you want. I mean, you can illustrate whatever you want in that house by the house. But the foundation is just like the apostles and the prophets. Jesus Christ himself being the chief cornerstone. Well, you don't need another Messiah to be the foundation. You don't need other apostles to be, built upon Christ the way that they were. In the same way, the Trinity doesn't have to be, explained again and again and again and again in the same way. It just needs to be, what needs to be addressed is how many persons, except for the us is fine, but how many persons has to do with the us. That's what's revealed, and who are they, and what do they do, and who sent who. Okay, you understand? That needs to be said. Why do you because if it wasn't like that, then Jehovah's Witnesses, they're always witching, whining, and complaining anyway about everything. If it said us all across the board from Genesis to Revelation, so what? They'll say, oh, it just says us. What about for example, if it wasn't there, I'm saying, for example, why doesn't it say in the Bible, go baptize them in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit? They'll say that. They would have said that if it wasn't there. They have it, and then they sneeze at it. Let's go to another scripture I recorded. Now, let's go to chapter 1 and verse 26. You understand? Let me see what I have here. And those are my boards that I made in Corel Video Studio. That's me over there. And let me see if I can find it, though. Where's verse 26, though? That's 22. I don't want to skip. Okay, that's Isaiah. So that's Isaiah there. Let me see. I'm gonna have to punch it up here in my phone because I don't see it there. I don't see that I took a picture of it though. I don't know, maybe it just didn't come out. So let's switch this, to Genesis. You understand? Wait for a second. Genesis chapter 1. No, wait for a second. Wait. That's chapter 2. So let's go all the way over here. The next verse that has to do about the Trinity is verse 26, as we all know. But we're looking at the constructions. Because we have to become experts in knowing this stuff just in case we're asked. We don't want to be embarrassed or be ashamed, okay? You understand? Just like the Bible says. So it's over here, then God said, okay? Now, in Greek, it'll be probably kai hatheas or kai apen hatheas, okay? Let us make man, okay? Na'aseh Adam. Adam means man in Hebrew, along with Ish. Isha means woman, by the way, in Hebrew. Ha'isha means woman. Ha'ish means the man. But take the ha's out, and you just have Ish and Isha. You understand what I'm saying? But anyway, over here it says, then God said, let us make man. Mankind, it says over here. In our image, in our likeness, it says. Now, traditionally it says that there are 4 plural pronouns for God in the Bible. That's incorrect. You have 6 of them, not 4. You have 4 verses, and you have 3 verses with 1 each, but then you have this one that has 3 Okay, so you have 3 over here and 1 each found and recorded in the other verses that we're going to be seeing. 3:22, 11, 7 of this book, and Isaiah chapter 6, verse 8. You understand? So you have 6 of them, not 4. Sometimes in debates, people make they make they make mistakes. I'm forgetting my English here in the Philippines. They make mistakes and they say, oh, they're 4, but they're talking about there's 4 verses though. But there's 6 actual pronouns that are in the plural. You even see that in books sometimes. 4. It's not 4. It's 6. Okay, 6. Well, let's check it out again. Then God said, "Let us make man." Now, what is that? Well, in order to see that, we're gonna have to go. We're gonna have to go to the Hebrew. That's Isaiah. So let me just look at the pictures again in my phone. Okay, all right. So that's just it. Let me see here. Okay, let me get it. That's chapter 11. And so over here, like one. No, that's not the one I want yet. Now, let me see here. See if it's this side. Okay. All right. So over here, let us make man. Let us make man. All right. According to our, now this is I think over here. Wait a minute, in our image. Okay, right here. This is it, guys. So this over here, God, Elohim. Okay, let us make. Now, he wasn't talking to the angels because the angels don't make things. Because they don't make creatures. And so he was talking. Either the Trinity was speaking all at once, and so what you have I mean, you have the Bee Gees song all at the same time. Okay. They sang at the same time, the Bee Gees. You got 3 right there, you know what I'm saying? And so you have people in the Bible saying, things at the same time, The people at the cross were saying crucify and crucify, and they were all, they were all talking in one accord. And people talking at the same time, so many places in the Bible. And outside of the Bible, you have people singing, you have people talking, And then, like, for example, you could be in your job, and 2 could get up at the same time. Let's go for lunch, and everybody could say, "Okay, let's go." Come on, man. Who you think you're dealing with? You understand what I'm saying? This is the kick. The church. We have answers for everything. You understand what I'm saying? This is the deal. It says over here, "Let us make." Now over here is na'aseh. Now let us make whom? Na'aseh Adam. Adam means man in Hebrew. Let's look at that first. It's all the way down there, recorded. And it's just a deal. It's spelled out Aleph with the kamets, okay, and Dalet, which is a D. It looks like the rest, so be careful with that, with the kamets. And then you have final mem. So it's actually Adam, and that's just the deal. Adam. So actually, let us make man is Adam. Na'aseh Adam. Na'aseh, let us make Adam man. You understand? Says over here, let us make. Now, it's actually say. Thank God they got rid of those, that sound, I mean, it's just the deal. In modern Hebrew, they don't have no for A classes, everything is all across the board, like the comments, you understand what I'm saying? Over here you have noon, okay, I'm underneath the E in make, over there to the top. And that's an N in Hebrew. Looks like it looks like the old-fashioned telephone, right? Handle, thing. That's an N in Hebrew. It's called noon. N-U-N or N-O-O-N. You understand? And so that's just the deal. So so then you have it looks like a minus sign underneath it, like on a calculator. That's an A class, like in the word hat in biblical Hebrew. And then after that, you have an IN on right under the K in make. It looks like a Y. It's not a Y. That's a silent letter. It's peculiar. It does make a sound, but unlike the Aleph that makes no sounds, but it is peculiar silent here. The sound is made by the bottom vowel class, the pathach. Uh, it's a Hatef Pathach. And those two dots that look like a braille B, right? It's the vertical set of dots. Okay, that's Hatef. And then the minus sign looking thingy underneath it is an A class. So far you got na, a. And then you have a W looking letter, which is not a W. It's an S. It can be a SH or an S according to the upper dot position. If it's on the right hand upper corner, it'll be a SH. If it's on the left hand corner like this it's an S, like in Sam. You understand? Underneath it, you have a upside down set of triangle, upside down set of dots, upside down triangle set of dots. Okay, and that's an E class, like in the word get, like in that old famous show Get Smart. Okay, so far you had na, se, and then the H or the hey in Hebrew underneath, basically the M and it's sort of in the middle of the us and the M. That's a hey. That's found 2 times in the Tetragrammaton. That's an H. That's silent. Okay, that's a very important letter in Hebrew. In other words, it could be an article like Hadabar in John 1:1, the what. It can be used in front of Elohim, like oh God. You don't need it though. And it can make a word feminine, like kola, like in Proverbs chapter 8, verse 1, her voice or whatever the case may be, proving that it's not talking about logos at all. Wisdom, call wisdom your sister. I mean, that's found in the previous chapter, around verse 14 of chapter 7. Come on, man, or Proverbs. So the Son of God is a sister now? Come on, get lost. Let us make, okay? Achot is sister actually in Hebrew, and ach is actually brother in Hebrew. All right, so let's go, okay, to, all right, chapter 3 now. Let's check it out. This is Isaiah. So it's just it. This is chapter 11, and that's just the deal. Let's look at chapter 3, the famous story found and recorded after the fall. And the Lord said, so it'll be a kai, a pen, atheos, kurios, something like that. The man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. Now, Satan was telling the truth. He said, if you eat of that tree, you're going to become like God. He wasn't lying. This is always truth in the devil's mouth, mixed with lies and stuff like that. It also makes him so tricky. If I give you a dollar bill that looks all red and everything, you're not going to take it. You're going to take it if it looks like a dollar bill. You understand what I'm saying? If it's yellow and everything, you're not going to take that. It's monopoly money. It's just the deal. But if it's mixed with truth and stuff like that, or if it's true all the way, and then he says a lie like you will not die. See, the lie was and then you shall not die. That was a lie. But he mixed it with the truth that you're going to be like God, knowing good and evil. And then you hear in the kirk in the church that he lied. And then the old-fashioned thing that people laugh about at church all the time, you understand? That Adam and Eve were passing the buck. They weren't passing the buck, man. I even saw that in Max McLean, everybody laughing. The woman that you gave me, she gave me to eat it, whatever. It's not like that, though. They were telling the truth. Now, when you come to the story of Cain, he didn't tell the truth, and that's why he got blasted by God. Vagabond, the mark of the beast on his head. You understand what I'm saying? Everybody will find me, shall kill me. I mean, come on. I don't know. He said, I don't know. If he said the same thing that Adam and Eve said, the person that you sent me, okay, then end quote there, I killed him. God would have accepted him if he would have apologized for it and stuff like that, but he didn't. He lied. Adam said the truth. The woman that you gave me, she gave me, and I ate. That's what's so funny about that in the church. Oh, he was passing a buck. He wasn't passing a buck to Hosea. He was telling him the truth. God knew it already, but he wanted to hear it, bring unto him words, says, Hosea chapter 14. You understand what I mean? Could be in chapter 10. And then Eve was saying the same thing. Well, the not the same thing, but the serpent deceived me. She wasn't passing a buck to the serpent. She was saying the truth. They didn't say no, I didn't eat of it, or something like that. They gave Yahweh what that he wanted to hear. They weren't passing the buck. It's just a disgrace when people laugh at that, man. All right. So anyway, let's go to this over here. And this is chapter 3. Okay, let's see what it says. Like one, okay, fine, of us is meme menu. Meme menu. Now you have the it's spelled out like this. There's an M here, a mem. Okay, now I already said there's two styles of the M. This M can be anywhere except for the last letter, so it's okay here. Mem. M-E-M, mem. So it's like a half an M, if you will, like that. Just think of it like that. It's under the word us, you understand? All the way to the bottom right-hand corner. So you have the mem and you have a dot. Now I already told you what that was. What's the dot? Do you remember? The dot is called hirek, underneath a letter. And it's an I class. Just think of a dot, dotting the I's, crossing the T's. I mean, just think of just a dot underneath a letter, a consonant. In Hebrew, it has to be under. Okay, the dot is under. The I class is not found anywhere else. It's found underneath a consonant, the I class. So when you see a little tiny dot, that's an I. That's all. Say me. That's it. But this is a tricky thing. The second mem, remember that you read Hebrew from right to left, okay? Never from left to right unless you're breaking up the syllables. So you read this like you read Aramaic, from right to left. Not like Greek, English, Spanish, French, Greek. I think I said Greek already, but Latin. I mean, all these languages. There's another mem here, but it has a dot in the middle of it. What is that all about? I'm right under the U, basically. What does that mean? What means these dots? It's like, what means these stones? Well, a dot in the middle of a consonant can either do two things. Okay, can you then harden a letter like the bet, right, like that, or it can double a consonant. It could reduplicate the letter. In Greek, you got reduplication also in the perfect tense. Okay, even in me verbs, you got reduplication. They just use sometimes they use what they use. They use a breathing marker to reduplicate. It's kind of strange. For the me verbs, you understand what I mean? But you have it like in Tetelestai, the debt has been paid in full. Jesus said that in verse 30 of chapter 19 of John's Gospel. The debt has been paid. It has been finished. It has been finished. So the tau reduplicated into another tau. Okay. Now, this, you don't see the reduplication, though. You just see the dot in the middle of the belly. And you know that there's a rule, okay, that has to do with specific letters being able to take this doubling dogish. Okay. So there are a handful of letters that can reduplicate, and there are a handful of letters that can be hardened, and you have to know which one is which. Okay. Like, for example, the yod can reduplicate. We already saw that in another study, I think. I don't know if we saw it today. Okay. You understand? The noon can be reduplicated. The mem can be reduplicated. That's just the deal. So what do you do in that situation? Well, I mean, okay, so it's like mathematics for me. So what you do, the second M reduplicated into two M's or two mems, you borrow one of those mems and use it for the first syllable. And you say meme. That's all. You just borrow. It's just like math. So for me anyway, that's how it's easy for me to remember. The second mem reduplicates, okay, you don't need it there, just like Costello said in that fiasco, like 13 plus 13 plus 13 plus 13 is and whatever 7 times is 28, and he uses it in division. And so, okay, let me borrow that 2 that I gave you, So you use the mem, okay, that reduplicate it with the first syllable over here in this situation, okay? So it's meme, and then you keep the m like it is in the second syllable, and there's an E class underneath that. I wish I could just enlarge the print. I can. Oh, goody! Just like Herman Munster used to say. You know what I'm saying? So underneath the mem is a upside down triangle set of dots. That's called segol. It's an E class. Okay. So when you see an upside down triangle set of dots, it's a cluster of grapes in Hebrew like that. It's just an E class, like in the word get. So me me. But the difficult thing is there's another consonant that reduplicated also. So what do you do in that situation? Remember what you did with the first. You let the first syllable have the mem that reduplicated. So you take the noon, and the N is right under the F, and there's a dot and a dot in the middle of it. So you know that reduplicated into 2 N's or 2 noons, right? So you borrow one of those noons and put it with the syllable with the second syllable. So men. But I don't pronounce it like that. I say meme menu. I cheat. Okay, I'm not gonna say meme menu. I mean, it's just, it doesn't roll. You know what I'm saying? And then you keep the word for us, nu, which means us in Hebrew. You keep it intact. You use the last noon or the last n to go along with the last syllable. There's 3 syllables here. Meme, men, nu, and then nu means us in Hebrew. Now, underneath the o and the word of, you have a wow or a vav. Sometimes it's called wow. In biblical Hebrew is wow, like that. It was a W sounding letter, but some people pronounce it like a V sounding letter, vav, So nu means us in Hebrew, and that's where the us is coming from. It's coming from the word that's tagged in the last portion of this word, nu, which means us in Hebrew, just like who means he in Hebrew. You understand what I'm saying? Nu means us in Hebrew. Now to put everything down again in this miniature form, we already saw Elohim, that is plural. You understand what I'm saying? It wasn't El, by the way. It could have said Bereshit bara El, and on and on and on. It goes. It doesn't say that though. It's not in a singular. Could have been in a singular. You find a singular recorded for God, El. Okay, I think that's Aleph with the Sere and then the Lamed. You understand what I'm saying? You find it one time. You find it one time. You find it one time in Psalm 102. The Tetragrammaton is found like 10 times there, or 9 times. Huh? I mean, so you find it, but it's not here. Okay, that's just the deal. And don't give me, Elohim can mean the false gods. Yeah, I don't know that. Just like Theos can mean. But the thing with 1 Corinthians chapter 4 verse 4 is that Satan has a genitive attached to him. He has a tag attached to him. It's right straight from the supermarket. You understand what I'm saying? The God of this age. You see, the God of this age. He has that stuck on his leg. You understand what I'm saying? The God of this of this age. He has. You know what it is? It's called the genitive of time. It's attached to Satan. He's a limited God. A God, by the way, small g. You understand what I'm saying? It's called the genitive of time. You have the genitive of time, the genitive of place, the genitive of the adverbial genitive, the genitive of opposition, the partitive genitive, the genitive of relationship, the genitive of this, the genitive of that. The genitive case is the richest of all the cases. You can go on and on and on. You understand what I'm saying? Genitive of possession, genitive of description. But that's Greek. Let's get back into Hebrew. Well, let's get back into Greek. Okay. Satan is limited. He's a limited God. So there's a genitive of time. The God of this age is describing what kind of a God he is. You understand what I'm saying? It's just a deal. Right. That's just, so yeah. So far you have Elohim being in the plural. You have Naase, which means let us make. Okay, is actually a subjunctive in the Greek Septuagint. The omega is pointing that out. Poiesomen, and the us is in the primary active personal ending men, which is part of the master personal ending chart. Primary active personal ending men, and the same description, the same word in this same construction is found and recorded in Mark chapter 9 around verse 5. Okay, when Peter said, "Let us make 3 tabernacles, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah." And then the other gospel, I think, says he didn't even know what he was talking about. You understand what I'm saying? That's the Pope for you. You understand what I'm saying? All right, that's just it. So let's go to chapter 11 now. Says over here, come. Okay, let us go down and mix up, in Hebrew it says, confuse, okay, their language, okay, so they will not understand each other. You see, God doesn't like towers too much, so you have to be careful with the watchtower. You understand what I'm saying? I'm just saying, he doesn't like towers for some reason or another. I mean, it's just a lot of pride involved in towers. So some of them, not all. Come, let us go down. Now let's check that out. What's that? Well, let's see. Let us go down is actually neredat. Neredat. You have the noon again. I'm right under the N and down. You have that's an N sounding letter, noon. And then you have, let me blow it up a little bit here. Let me see what happened here. Where was I at now? Let me see. Where was I now, huh? I have to find it again. Okay, this is chapter 6, so it's going to be before that. It's just a deal. This is it right here. This is it recorded. Let me see if I can enlarge the print. Let me see. I can't do it. Let me see. In our image. I didn't do that. I have to do that also, you know that? Let me see. 11. Okay, 11. I can't enlarge it though. Okay, now I can. Let me see. I can't anymore though. That's it though, guys. Let us go down. Okay, so what is it? Okay, I'm at the top. Okay, let's put the Hebrew all the way to the top. Okay, remember you read from right to left. Now the telephone looking thingy, that's an N in Hebrew. Okay, it's like a handle on the telephone, but there are these shapes do depict things. Okay, so I'm just telling you what can help you, not what it actually means. That's a noon. Now there's dots underneath it. It's like side by side dots, horizontal dots. Okay, that's called sere. That's an E class, like in the word they. So just picture in your mind, you're looking from a skyscraper and you're looking below at 2 dots that are people walking side by side, and they are walking side by side like that. That's how I remembered it. I just put the word they in it so I could remember the Hebrew, dots. But that's ne. And then you have the resh. Okay, let me bring it down a little bit. No, okay. Then you have the resh is right above the A, the opposite side looking R in Hebrew. But you have a schwa there, making a sound. That's making a sound though. Nere, nere. Okay. And then the other syllable has to do with a dalet that looks like the resh though. Okay, so you have 2 letters that look like each other. The thing with the Hebrew R is rounded off to the upper right hand side, and the dalet or the D is not rounded off. It protrudes outwardly a little bit. That's the difference between the R and the D in Hebrew, the resh and the dalet. Okay, now there's a T looking thingy underneath it. That's an A class, like in the word father. Okay, sometimes it's an O class, but most likely it's an A class when you're looking at it. And then there's a silent hey or an H, and that just caps off the Hebrew word. All right, so nereda, okay, let us go down. Okay, nereda, let us go down. Okay. Now the Hebrew word, okay, and I can't. Let me move this. Let me see if I could get it again. This is a pain. This thing, it keeps on moving on me. In our image, let's see. For a second here, I think this is it right here, and the actual lexical form is actually yarad. Actually, yarad. Actually, it means to descend. If I'm not mistaken, I can't poke the bear now, but it has to do something with descension. That's going down. You understand? Yarad. And in English, it's spelled out right here. Anyway, Yarad. But you have a yod and a kametz, and then a resh and a pathach, and then the dalet after that. So you have the consonants are yod, resh, dalet, or Y, R, D, and the vowel points underneath it are a set of A classes, the two A classes in Hebrew. The kametz, that looks like a T, like A, like in the word father, and the A class, like in the word hat, is pathach here. It looks like a minus sign on your calculator. Okay. All right. Let's go to the other one. Record it. Isaiah this time. Well, Isaiah chapter 6 says something like this. Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, whom, this is an NIV, who shall I send? Okay. And who will go for us? No, you can't put angels in there. I mean, they're not doing the angels' bidding. The angels are ministering servants. They're sent to minister. We're not doing anything for the angels. We're doing them a favor by leaving the Bible open, though, so they can look at these things. You understand what I'm saying? We don't go for the angels. Like, when the Apostle Paul went to Ephesus, he wasn't going for Michael. You understand what I'm saying? By the way, that famous Hebrew word malach, which means messenger primarily, and can be translated into angel. Well, in the book of Ephesim, which is in Hebrew Ephesus, okay, Ephesians actually, it's in the plural, Ephesim, I believe. The im, there goes the im again. The Apostle Paul in chapter 1, verse 1 calls himself malach, actually, malach, messenger. He calls himself malach there in which one? Well, the Hebrew Bible found and recorded in I believe 1817 has it there, translated from the Texas Receptus by G.G. Collier and T. Frey. You know what I'm saying? F-R-E-Y. I think by the London Jew Society. I think that's what it is. And in the same Bible, it has Jesus recording saying Ech for himself. Nobody can say Ech for himself except for Yahweh. You understand what I'm saying? That's his name, and Yahweh is his memorial name. Don't forget about that. Nobody can say Ech that Jesus did in the 1817 and 1880 Hebrew New Testaments. And that's just the deal. You can get one of them on Amazon.com, by the way. The 1817 edition. Well, who will go for us? Now, what's that in Hebrew? It's easy. It's very easy. For us, it's actually lanu. Now, remember that nu means us in Hebrew. We found it in meme menu. Nu means us in Hebrew. Okay, so just remember that. Now, nu is found and recorded at the end of this Hebrew word. But it says over here, and let me see if I could just blow it up a little bit. There it goes again. There it goes again. Let me see. This is Genesis 1, though. Let's see what I can do here. Let me see. Yeah, I think it's this one, right? It should be this one, no? No. According. Let me see. How about this one? This one right here. Because I can't see it. It's hard. It's hard to see. Let me see. Is this one okay for us? Let me see if I could just. Okay, there you go. Goodness gracious. All right. Now, underneath the word for us is where I want you to concentrate. Okay, and the R in for, but the S first and the word us. The big letter, the biggest letter in the Hebrew alphabet, basically, I believe, when it having to do with going over the top line, that's a lamed, that's an L. It's found in Elohim, the word Elohim. That's an L in Hebrew, lamed. Now, underneath, you have two things. You have an accent marker that looks like an arrow, right? Forget about that for now. You have a T-looking thingy, and I already said what that was. That's an A class, like in the word Father. So just say La. That's all. Hebrew is just as easy as that. You sound off the consonant if it makes a sound, and then you sound off what's the vowel that has to do with it. In this instance, the vowel is underneath it, so you just say La. Okay. If there's a dot over it to the left-hand side as an O class, you just say Lo. You see? It's just as simple as that. Just like in the word Elohim. So far La. Now the second syllable is just Nu, because you have a Nun. It doesn't have anything around it or nothing like that, meaning to go along with it. So just Na, it's an N in Hebrew. It's right under the U and us. But there's a vowel. There's a wow or vowel class, a consonant acting like a vowel with a dot in the middle. Well, that's that dot in the middle of it is not for reduplication. It's not for hardening. It's a vowel. It's a U class. It's a U class. You just have to know which letters can the U class take. That U class. You understand? So the dot in the middle of the last consonant there that's acting like a vowel, okay, is a U class, and that's just a deal. So Lanu. It's as easy as that. Lanu. You understand? So that's just the deal. Well, that's it for now. And I did these posters, and I hope you guys will enjoy them. They look very nice. I did it in Corel Video Studio by using Boris Graffiti. And I got metallic letters and stuff like that, just in case you have Corel. You have Lanu over here. But the vowels couldn't really write underneath in the middle of the bottom portion of the consonants on me. Sorry about that. But these are nice pictures. I did it myself. I should have put my name, but what are you going to do? And then over here you have Nereda. But I mean, some things are missing from it and stuff like that. But it's really, really quite beautiful to look at when you're looking at a sideways angle of it. And this is meme menu without the doubling doggish in the middle of the second mem, but that's okay anyways. I did the best I could. And then the I class is not directly in the middle of the first mem, underneath the first mem. So I mean, it's almost to the side, almost to the middle. But what are you going to do? And then you got me over there. This is Angelo Quinones giving glory, total glory to the God of Israel. God is not the God of the dead, but of the living. And that means that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob were very much alive at the time that Jesus said those words. Please subscribe to my channel. Please give me a thumbs up. And please leave a comment on the screen. And guess what? My baby's still sleeping. So she's a special child, and her name is Anna Devane. And so that's good that she's still sleeping. So maybe I can get some sleep. That's just the deal. Before I don't get any sleep later on. Is that what I'm saying? So again, please subscribe to my channel. Please give me a thumbs up. And please leave a comment on the screen of what you want to see in the future. Okay? Thank you. Bye.